Red Stratagems. These bad boys are what you need if you want to drop something out of the sky and blow something up. If you want to destroy an enemy base or take out a massive enemy, these are always a good bet. But as we know, some are better than others, so today we're gonna rank all of them. Here is the tier list. I'm gonna have this linked down in the description if you want to make your own. And we're gonna start off with the Orbital 120mm HE Barrage. The 120 is an absolute classic. It is one of the best barrages in the game and one of my personal favorite red stratagems. It covers a fairly large-sized area in heavy-hitting 120mm shells, destroying most buildings in one hit and taking out pretty much every enemy in the area, and of course every ally in the area. The radius of the 120 is much smaller compared to the 380mm barrage, but this is actually a bonus in my opinion. You're a lot less likely to die by accident, and it's better at concentrating your fire in a smaller area. The 120 is very reliable, it is very fun, and it is an overall great pick for pretty much any mission. I'm gonna put the 120mm in S tier. This is easily one of my favorite stratagems in the game. Next up we have the Orbital 380mm HE Barrage. This is the big brother of the 120mm, and it's the same basic idea. A bunch of heavy-hitting shells landing in a general area, dealing tons of damage and leveling everything in the area. This one is a lot bigger and clumsier than the 120mm barrage. It is overkill a lot of the time, unless you're taking down an enemy fortress or dealing with an absolutely insane amount of enemies, like an unusual amount of enemies. It has a purpose in the sandbox and it fills that niche well. It can absolutely destroy a massive area, but I personally prefer the 120mm for the shorter cooldown and the better concentration of fire. In my opinion, the 380 is a strong A tier. Next up, we have the Orbital Airburst Strike. This orbital strike has a very specific use. You're meant to use it to clear out chaff enemies, all those little small enemies, and it does that very well. The airburst will come down and explode above the ground, of course, and launch out a bunch of small projectiles that will blanket the area in medium pen explosives. This allows you to direct your focus on the larger enemies after you call down the airburst, instead of being distracted by every little enemy that tries to come up and attack you. The obvious downside to this stratagem is that it will not kill anything above medium pen, so you will obviously need to bring something bigger to kill large enemies. But you should be doing that anyway. You should always have someone in your squad with something that can kill a massive enemy. Overall, this is a good choice if you're taking on the mindless masses or dealing with the bugs on high difficulty. It can really cut through the enemy forces and allow you to focus on the objectives and the large enemies. I'm gonna put the airburst in B tier. It's a pretty average stratagem. It does its role well, but it's not outstanding. Next up, we have the Orbital EMS Strike. The Orbital EMS Strike is a non-lethal stratagem that can stun and slow enemies in a fairly large radius. The projectile itself can deal 300 damage with anti-tank 3 penetration, so it can technically deal a bit of damage. The EMS Strike will apply the medium stun effect to enemies, holding them still for a bit and allowing you to take them out much easier. This can combo well with other orbital strikes or eagle strikes to easily take out a group of enemies. There's not much else to know about the EMS Strike. It's pretty simple and it does its job well, but of course you would usually want to bring something that can kill enemies faster instead of just stunning them. The EMS Strike is a C for me. It's below average because, again, it is pretty non-lethal. You're not going to score any kills with it. And frankly, that's what you would want out of an orbital strike. Next up, we have the Orbital Gas Strike. This is a great option for holding back enemies, and I much prefer it over the EMS Strike for a few reasons. The Gas Strike will hit the ground and create a large cloud of gas, obviously, but the gas can actually damage enemies unlike EMS, so it can be used to deal a good amount of damage over time. And let's not forget that gas can penetrate almost any armor in the game. It can be used against every single enemy to some effect. And as we know, gas will also confuse enemies, causing them to act erratically and even attack each other. This can get you a lot of extra damage with each gas strike. It can do crowd control and it can do damage. So the gas strike is good, it's reliable, and it has the exact same cooldown as the EMS strike, so I much prefer it over the EMS strike. I think the gas strike is a A tier, below the 380. Next up we have the Orbital Gatling Barrage. The Gatling Barrage is a good all-around stratagem. It can do a little bit of everything. All of the projectiles will deal 350 damage with anti-tank penetration, allowing it to damage almost anything in the game. The projectiles also explode on impact, dealing another 350 damage with medium pen, giving the barrage good coverage and allowing it to be used to deal damage in the entire area. The damage profile allows it to be used against all kinds of enemies. It is a jack of all trades. If you're not sure what kind of red stratagem you want to bring with you, then consider bringing the Gatling Barrage. And the cooldown is only 70 seconds by default, giving it one of the shortest cooldowns in the entire game and making this into a very versatile pick. Overall, I am a big fan of the Gatling Barrage. It is easy to use, it's effective, and it has a very short cooldown. It is a great stratagem all around. I'm putting the Gatling Barrage in the top of A tier for now. Next up, we have the Orbital Laser. The Orbital Laser is easily one of the best stratagems in the game when used correctly. It is almost unfair how good this thing is. The Orbital Laser has the ability to destroy entire enemy bases in seconds, making certain missions incredibly easy if multiple people bring it. It is incredible for getting out of a bad situation where there are too many enemies to handle. It's like a get out of jail free card. It is also one of the few red stratagems that are useful on commando missions. Since it hits so hard, you can use it right off spawn and take out an entire enemy base, and then you can use it once more when you decide to call your super destroyer in. The main drawback of the Orbital Laser is the limited uses. You only get 3 per mission, but that is totally fair. It keeps the Orbital Laser balanced and it forces you to use it strategically instead of spamming it. Overall, one of the strongest picks in the entire game if you know when to use it effectively, but it's not something that you can use often. And plus, the fact that it auto-targets enemies for you and will kill everything so fast, I mean, it takes all the work out of your hands the moment that it hits the ground. The Orbital Laser is a definite S tier, along with the 120. And you know what else is S tier? The sponsor of today's video, Manta Sleep. Sometimes I have a lot of trouble sleeping, especially when I'm away from home. When I traveled to TennoCon 2026 earlier this month, I was concerned that this would be a problem, so I brought my Manta Sleep Pro mask, and the mask really did help. I was able to get enough sleep to truly enjoy the convention and have a much better time for it. The mask does an incredible job of blocking out light. You won't see a thing when you put the mask on, and that is great if you are easily woken up by things like sunlight. Manta Sleep sells a variety of sleep masks and accessories. I think the Manta Pro sleep mask has the best bang for your buck, but you should go check out their website and decide what's right for you. Head over to mantasleep.com and use code GRANDMOFF to save 10% on your order. And of course, I want to thank Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. Next up, we have the Orbital Napalm Barrage. The Napalm Barrage is what you want when you need to block off an area for a while. Every projectile that comes down will deal 500 damage with anti-tank pen and explode for 350 damage with medium pen. But the main appeal is, of course, the fire. Every explosion will spread fire around the area and apply the heavy burn status effect, which deals a lot of damage quickly. This is great at shutting down enemy encounters right when they spawn. Most enemies that are caught in the barrage will be killed very fast, and the barrage lasts for a long time. You can effectively make that entire area unlivable and untraversable until the barrage is over. But you need to be careful with the Napalm Barrage. This is one of the worst things to accidentally drop on your team. Make sure that you're not throwing it into your team or throwing it where you need to go. Make sure that you don't get knocked over when you're holding it, because that will wipe out your team if you're close to them. Overall, the Napalm Barrage is extremely effective against all factions, and it can be used on any difficulty to great success. As long as you're careful with it, This is one of the best stratagems in the game right now. Napalm Barrage is also going to go in S tier. It is one of the best, for sure. Next up, we have the Orbital Precision Strike. The Orbital Precision Strike is the first red stratagem that you get access to, and we're all somewhat familiar with it. The OPS basically just fires a single 380mm shell, but it does so with precision. Obviously, it's in the name. This can be used to great effect against large enemies and buildings, but it is hard to use effectively. You gotta stick it to enemies or try to catch them flat-footed. But the best part about the OPS is the cooldown. It's only 90 seconds by default and can be lowered to 77 seconds by upgrading your ship. This is one of the shortest cooldowns in the game, and it makes it usable more often, but of course that all comes at the cost of firepower. It doesn't hit as hard as the majority of orbitals, but it can be used more often, so that does give it a bit more of a versatile role in the game. Overall, the Orbital Precision Strike is very average in my opinion. You get some decent firepower on a short cooldown, but it also requires a lot of skill to use, a lot more than the average Orbital Strike. I'm putting the OPS in B tier. Next up, we have the Orbital Rail Cannon Strike. This is the stratagem you bring when you don't want to deal with large enemies, because it is very effective at taking out most large enemies instantly. The rail cannon will target a nearby enemy after you throw it, and it will try to aim for the largest target possible. And it works pretty good most of the time, but you are still, ultimately, at the mercy of the auto-targeting system no matter what. The cooldown of the rail cannon is definitely the main thing holding it back. It is a 3-minute cooldown by default, and roughly 2.5 minutes with an upgraded ship. If the cooldown was just a bit lower, like 30 seconds to a minute, then it would be perfect. But on high difficulties, you'll be facing a lot of large enemies, and that makes it a lot less viable if you want to go to D9 or D10. Overall, the rail cannon is effective, it is solid, but the cooldown is just holding it back from being where it needs to be. If it was just a bit shorter, it would be perfect. So I think the rail cannon is a mid B tier. It's perfectly average in my opinion, but it does fill its own niche well. Next up, we have the Orbital Smoke Strike. The Smoke Strike is pretty self-explanatory. It will drop a huge cloud of smoke from above. That's pretty much it. Although it can be useful in some scenarios, I would usually rather bring something that can kill enemies, especially against melee enemies. The Smoke Strike is pretty good against bots though. You can cut off their ranged enemies and focus on their melee units, then take out their larger units that are stuck in the smoke. It's pretty good for staggering their forces and focusing on their different elements. Oh, and the Smoke Strike is also insanely good for rapid acquisition missions. You can cover the area in smoke and sneak past hundreds of enemies while carrying the platinum bars. But overall, the Smoke Strike is just kind of meh. When you want a good orbital, you want something that is gonna obliterate the enemy forces and pave way for you to clear out the map. But this doesn't really give you that. I'm gonna put the Smoke Strike in C tier next to the EMS Strike. And our final orbital is the Orbital Walking Barrage. The Walking Barrage is basically a side grade to the 380mm, and I actually prefer the Walking Barrage quite a bit. The Walking Barrage fires the same 380mm shells as the 380mm barrage, of course, and it fires the same amount of salvos, but the way it functions is quite unique. The barrage will progressively move in the direction that you throw the stratagem ball. So if you throw the ball west, the barrage will progressively move west as it fires. This makes it great for slowly clearing out large enemy bases. Be careful though, this barrage is still very inaccurate, just like the 380, and it can be deceptive with how far ahead it's moving. Never run directly into the location of the last salvo because a stray shell can still come down and hit you. Overall, this is a very useful and very fun orbital strike. I think it's kind of underrated. It can take out tons of enemies across a very wide radius, and it's just really cool. I'm gonna put the Walking Barrage right above the 380. Next up, we have the Eagle 110mm rocket pods. The rocket pods are a pretty interesting stratagem. They are somewhat similar to the rail cannon strike, but they are much less powerful. The rocket pods are another auto-targeted stratagem. They will typically target the largest enemy in proximity to the Stratagem ball, which can sometimes make it unreliable. The rocket pods don't do nearly as much damage as the rail cannon, so they can have a hard time killing some of the large enemies in the game, but of course you get multiple uses every time the Eagle rearms. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the rocket pods. They feel too inconsistent, and the damage sometimes just isn't enough. I would rather bring something like the 500 kilogram bomb. I'm gonna put the rocket pods in C tier. I don't think they're very good, to be honest. Next up, we have the Eagle 500 kilogram bomb. Really, what needs to be said about the 500 kilogram bomb? It is an absolute classic, and the Stratagem code itself is a meme at this point. The 500 kilogram will call in a single massive bomb, which has the potential to deal 2,000 damage with anti-tank 3 penetration if you can hit it directly, but that usually won't happen, so don't rely on it. The bomb will explode after landing, dealing 1,500 damage with anti-tank 2 penetration in a 10-meter radius, dropping off to 0 damage after 25 meters. So it has plenty of damage in a good radius, and it can take out lots of enemies. It also has 50 demo force, enough to destroy a ton of different buildings and objectives. This stratagem benefits heavily from the expanded weapons bay upgrade. Usually, the 500 kilogram only comes with 1 use per rearm, but that gets upgraded to 2 uses with the expanded weapons bay. That's double the firepower per rearm. It's a very important upgrade. Overall, you just can't go wrong with a 500 kilogram bomb. It's reliable, it's deadly, and it's a classic. It's going in S tier. It's gonna be going in S tier. I think above the napalm barrage. Yeah, right below the laser. Next up, we have the Eagle Airstrike. The Airstrike is another versatile stratagem. It can be used in a wide variety of situations on any front and on any difficulty. The Airstrike calls down 6 bombs. Each bomb will deal 1,500 damage with anti-tank 3 penetration on impact, and explode for 800 damage with anti-tank 1 penetration. As you can see, it can deal damage to all kinds of enemies, allowing you to use it on pretty much any mission. And you can use the Airstrike 2 times before the Eagle needs to rearm, 3 times if you have an upgraded ship. The bombs and the explosions also have 40 demo force, so it is very good at taking out enemy bases and some other enemy buildings as well. Overall, the Eagle Airstrike is really solid. I can't think of any major problems or criticisms that I would level at it. It's just pretty good. It's not incredible, it's not a game changer, but it's damn good. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. Next up, we have the Eagle Cluster Bomb. The Cluster Bomb is one of the best options for clearing out chaff enemies in the game, and it can absolutely annihilate your squad if you aren't careful with it. The Eagle will drop 8 cluster bombs per strike, which will also explode into 8 smaller bombs. And if you can do the math on that, that is 64 bombs hitting the ground, each of which will deal 350 damage with medium pen. As you can see, that is a ton of damage spread out over a wide area. This is perfect for taking out anything that isn't a large enemy or an objective, and it can be used to clear out entire waves of enemies if you use it right. It's similar to the orbital airburst strike, but you get a lot more explosives in an instant as opposed to the airburst strike, which is a more consistent barrage. Overall, this is an excellent option against any small to medium enemies. It is perfect against large crowds of bugs and voteless, and it will rack up a ton of kills for you. But keep in mind, you just gotta bring something else to kill the large enemies with. The cluster bomb is gonna go right next to the airburst strike, at the top of B tier. Next up, we have the Eagle Napalm Airstrike. The Napalm Airstrike is exactly what you would expect. It drops some bombs that will spread fire. It's not as explosive as the Napalm Barrage, but it's good at throwing some fire on a small area instead of completely blanketing a massive area in fire. This is a decent stratagem if you don't bring any fire damage and you want to be able to cut off a choke point and hold the enemies back. But if you want that big damage over time in a huge area, then you should bring the Orbital Napalm. There's really not a lot else to talk about with this one. It's just, it's an Eagle Napalm Airstrike. That's what it is. This is gonna go in B tier, I think. But where? Probably below the rail cannon, but above the OPS. Next up, we have the Eagle Smoke Strike. The Smoke Strike is also exactly what you would expect. It drops smoke from the Eagle. The Eagle Smoke Strike can be used more often than the Orbital Smoke Strike because the Eagle stores multiple charges at once, so that's a pretty big benefit. And that's pretty much it. It's a cloud of smoke. Anything I could say about other smokes would apply here anyway. So everything I said about the Orbital Smoke Strike, just apply that here as well. It's the same idea. The Eagle Smoke Strike is gonna go above the Orbital Smoke Strike. And finally, we have the Eagle Strafing Run. The Eagle Strafing Run is an insanely useful stratagem. It deals good damage, it's easy to use, and it can destroy a lot of enemy objectives with ease. The Strafing Run will fire 100 rounds in the direction that you throw the ball, and it will go for dozens of meters in that direction, clearing out a long strip of land for you. Each shot will deal 350 damage with anti-tank 2 penetration, and it will explode for 350 damage with medium pen in a small radius. That is a lot of easy damage. The Strafing Run is also the fastest Eagle in the game, deploying nearly instantly, and firing quick projectiles allows it to be used extremely fast to take out all kinds of enemies. And you get 4 Strafing Runs per rearm, 5 if you upgrade the hangar, so you can use it whenever you see fit. Overall, the Strafing Run is an incredibly versatile stratagem. It can take out tons of different enemies and buildings with ease, clear out enemy bases, and it's just very easy to use effectively. I definitely recommend this one. I'm gonna put the Strafing Run near the top of A tier, next to the Gatling Barrage. Now that I have filled out the tier list, I think there are some changes I want to make. I think I'm gonna put the EMS in D tier. I think that the fact that it has the same cooldown as the Gas Strike makes it it's not that good really. I would rather use the Gas Strike and get some damage out, make the enemies attack each other, confuse them, because both of them give you CC at the end of the day. And I'm gonna drop the Orbital Smoke down to D as well, because after using it more, I found that the Eagle Smoke Strike is honestly better because it has more charges. Yes, you have to send the Eagle to go rearm, but I find that having more charges quickly is pretty good. Unless you're using the Smoke Strike in Rapid Acquisition, then I would say bring both, because smoke is so useful in that mission. And the Eagle Napalm is gonna go down a tier as well. I wouldn't bring it myself really, but I can respect it. I think that the Precision Strike and the Rail Cannon Strike are interchangeable, depending on your skill level. I suck at Helldivers too, so I'm gonna say the Rail Cannon is better for my taste. I think I'm pretty happy with this tier list otherwise though. I think that I put a few things a bit too high at first, and now we've rebalanced things out. So this is what I think. Of course, S tier is the classics, you know. You got your laser, the 500 kilogram, and the 120. 120 is my personal favorite barrage, and the Orbital Napalm is just too useful to not go into S tier. It just cleans house. So yeah, if you disagree with my tier list, go ahead and check out the description to go make your own. And if you want to post it and show it to me, then join my Discord and put it in one of the chats, because I'm sure that there's going to be some fun discussion in there about it. And of course, I want to thank my Hell Troopers. Swickety, Archangel Shipyards, Dirty Nightmare, Findas 16, ODST Exotic, John Droll, Tinfoil Freak, Melek Paragon 9231, Jack of Nothingness, Thackum Dub, Kermite Official, SES Champion of Democracy, and Shaquille O'Neal 1. Thank you all for continuing to support my channel, it means a lot to me. And this might be the last Helldivers video for a bit, apart from, you know, if they release a new War Bond or whatever. So I want to thank all of you for watching for so long, and hopefully you will stay tuned. And that is all I have for now. This is Grand Moff Togan of the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.